right, hello. I just wanted to do a quick little weekly check-in and just give you some tips on some things that I'm noticing within this course for the summer and talk about some of the things that are coming up. So the very first thing that I wanted to talk about is really just this idea around checking your grades. So if you scroll down within your learning module, you're going to notice over on the left-hand side, there is a category that says My Grades. And if you click on that, it's going to give you a list of every single assignment that we're going to be working through this semester. And then you should see that everything from week 1 and 2 has been graded. So you can go in and verify that you did maximize the points on all of those assignments from the week 1 and week 2 learning modules. For any of the things that you're noticing that you got a 0 for, or maybe you got partial credit for, I would definitely encourage you to go in and view the little bubble that says feedback, because I do go in and give feedback for every single assignment that you submit. So if you're wondering why you didn't maximize points on something, it largely probably is centered around maybe something that you missed. A lot of the reasons why students don't get maximum points is centered around not responding to their peers in discussion board and current event posts. So you do want to make sure that you are going in and submitting at least those 3 thoughtful, remember they need to be thoughtful responses to your peers on your discussion boards as well as your weekly current events. So make sure that you're getting both of those so that you are maximizing points. Anything that might show, like a really good example is the ethics and various types quiz, and your syllabus quiz was even this way a little bit, but your ethics and various types quiz and your big chicken quiz for this module that's due tonight is a manual grade. So please know that I will be going through those and ensuring that you are maximizing the points on those quizzes. A lot of them have little short answer questions that I have to go through and manually grade. So you may not see a grade right away for some of those things. So just make sure that you're checking your grade and that you're maximizing those points on your weekly discussion boards or your learning module discussion boards, as well as your weekly current events. I always want to reiterate for students that you're going to notice in the feedback there is no right or wrong answer. And that's what brings me to what you learned in week 2. So week 2, we talked about the ethics and the various types of ethics that we will be applying to the issues that we'll be talking about this semester. And I really, really loved what a lot of you talked about in your discussion board centered around the ethical types and some of the ethical dilemmas that you have been faced with. Some of you talked about egoism, which I really, really appreciated, because egoism doesn't always have to be negative. Sometimes we're selfish for reasons that in the long term, maybe the positive does outweigh the negative, right? So some people will say going to college could be a selfish decision, right? Maybe you're putting things with your family on hold. Maybe you aren't taking a job because you want to be able to go to college full time, and so you can't contribute to your family income. And so that could be seen as a selfish act, right? That could be egotistical. But the benefit of having that education outweighs the negative of that egotistical, self-centered component that people could potentially view as that way. So I loved that you were able to make that correlation that egoism is not always negative, can be positive, and that really critical component that it's really within the lens that you're looking through. So you're going to find that every single issue that we talk about, you could apply one of the 5 ethical types pretty easily. And I actually challenge you. I challenge you to not always apply the same ethical dilemma to the food issue that we're talking about. So if utilitarian really resonates with you and you really love that ethical type because it's talking about the benefit that for the best, the majority, right? The thing that helps the most people. Don't use that every single week. Really challenge yourself to 1 week, maybe apply egoism. The next week, try divine command and see how you could apply this idea around, because God commanded it. And remember, it doesn't mean that it has to be the God within the Bible. So it could certainly be, I've been following this Lori Vallow thing, right? And they've just found 2 bodies well, they haven't said 2 bodies yet. They've found human remains at her husband's residence. And so if you kind of follow that whole story, you could certainly say that divine command is playing a role in the decisions that that married couple is making. You could also say that they may think from their perspective that it is utilitarian or Kantian. They could potentially say that they're virtuous. And so you can apply that ethical type to any of those aspects of it. And I would never say that you're right or wrong. It's really how you apply it and ensuring that you have the appropriate definition and you're applying it correctly. Just like with these food issues, I will never tell you, so you're taking your chicken quiz right now, I will never tell you that eating chicken is moral or immoral, right or wrong, right? It's my role within this course to present you with the information and then to have you go out and make educated decisions based on what you know. And that's, again, no right or wrong answer. So know that in those discussion boards, that's not the way that I'm grading you. I want to see that you've read the information, that you've synthesized it, and then you can communicate to me why you believe what you believe. But I will never tell you that you're right or wrong in those beliefs. So please know that there is no right or wrong answer. The other thing that I just want to draw your attention to really fast, because I think there's been some confusion around this and I want to try to clear up some of the confusion that's around this. So I'm going to go into student view so that it looks exactly like it does for you. So over here on the left, you're going to see there's the food issue and current event discussion board. So right now you're contributing to your big chicken discussion board. You're talking all about Tyson Foods and this idea around factory farming, if you will. I actually call it commercial farming. I don't really like the term factory farming, but so you're addressing this discussion board, but then you also have your weekly current event. And I just want to make sure that you know that these weekly current events are weekly in the sense that you're only doing one a week for the summer session. So I went in and changed the title of these to maybe hopefully help with some of the confusion. So your week 3 and 4 current event discussion board based on learning module 3 and 4, these open on Saturday and then they're due the following Saturday. So you find one current event per week and then you go in and contribute to 3 of your peers' current events and reply to those within that same week. The reason that I don't do this every due date is because you'd be looking for a lot of current events every couple of days and it wouldn't be really valuable. There is a lot that happens in the news, so you could potentially do that, but that seems like an awful lot for a summer class when I really just want you to see what's happening in the news and then really connect that with food, agriculture, potentially the content that we're talking about, those kinds of things. So I have relabeled these week 3, 4 current event, just so you know that learning module 3 and 4 is due this week. You can make contributions now, but know that these current events aren't due until Saturday at the 11:59 p.m. deadline. So hopefully that clears that up. I know there's been a little bit of confusion centered around that. So with that, the only other thing that I just want to give you a heads up on is week 4 opens tonight at midnight. And so you do want to make sure that you take the chance to get in there and view what is available for week 4. Just so you know, it's giving me a little bit of a fit right now, but under week 4, you're going to talk about labeling, food labeling, and all of the confusion that comes with food labeling. And believe me, as a consumer, it is extremely complicated to walk into the grocery store and know what labels you should believe and what labels you shouldn't, and what's regulated, what's not regulated. So we really explore that within this week. So just know that you're going to be reading some articles around food labels, and then your assignment will not be a quiz in week 4. So I really encourage you to go look in your pantry, look in your freezer, your fridge. If you're planning on going to the grocery store, maybe take some time looking at some labels at the grocery store. You will be taking a picture of the food label that you're going to be talking about in your week 4 assignment. And it really is an opportunity for you to just, now that you've learned about food labels, does that cage-free label on my eggs actually mean something that I think it means, right? There's a picture of some chickens roaming in a pasture. Is that what cage-free actually means? And should I continue to vote with my dollar, if you will, and send the message to this specific industry that I support what they're doing, even though they may not be doing what I think they're doing? So it's a challenging thing to think about. Please know that that is a component of this week. So you want to make sure that you take some time to find that food label, take a picture of it, and then create that journal entry and talk to me about your findings. I hope you all are having a wonderful week. As always, if you have questions, comments, or concerns, please reach out to me. Otherwise, happy finishing up week 3 and then opening up week 4 here pretty soon.